everybody. My name is Eric Altman, sales engineer here at Vodia Networks. And today we're continuing our webinar series talking about Fanvil phones and Vodia PBX. I'm going to run through a few slides here, and then we'll be joined by Tommy Lee from Fanvil. So on our agenda today, we'll be talking about supported devices, including desktop phones, door phones, and others. We'll go over provisioning through Fanvil's remote provisioning service, FDPS, and talk about LAN provisioning. We'll talk about features that are supported like branding, TLS, SSRTP, ring melody, LDAP, firmware updates, and DND and redirection. Talk about phone management, and lastly, we'll talk about phone button support, set up locally on the phone, BLF modes, speed dial, and the ability to see what buttons are programmed on your phone through the web interface, the desktop app. Fanvil phones can be provisioned wherever the phones are. Vodia fully supports all the models shown on this presentation. LAN provisioning support comes built into the Vodia PBX. Simply plug in your Fanvil and Vodia will show you the available phones to be provisioned. Encryption support, this includes TLS and SRTP support, and includes desktop phones. Paging units are also provisioned through the PBX. FDPS can be used for a dropship deployment. This makes it easy for any ITSP company wanting to deploy a scalable solution. Just add the MAC address of your Fanvil unit on the Vodia PBX. When the phone's plugged in, Vodia provides a zero-touch experience by sending to the remote server the name, the username, and password of the extension for provision authentication. You can drop ship your Fanvil phones to your customers without even logging into the phone. Provisioning remotely is easier with Vodia and Fanvil. Just sign up for a Fanvil FDPS account and use those same credentials on the Vodia PBX phone system. Step 2, add the MAC address to the extensions. Vodia then sends Fanvil all the extension information. From there, a profile is automatically created for each user. And it's worth mentioning that even in a multi-tenant environment, Vodia can assign the MAC address based on the customer's domain. LAN deployment, when the unit boots up from factory default, the PBX will list all of the units on the LAN. This makes it easy for you to assign on the fly, and like I said earlier, you never even have to log into the phone. So here's a bunch of different supported features. Buttons, Vodia provisions all the Fanvil X and XU buttons, includes BLF, call, park, and pickup, paging, pickup buttons for ACD and Hunt Group. When you talk about branding, you can upload your company logo onto the phone screen. TLS, SRTP, Vodia supports the phone's TLS connection, providing that the Vodia PBX has a certificate for the domain. Ring melody, we can deliver customizable ringtones to your Fanvil device. The extension account and name will show on the phone, and the time zone and language are configured as well. You've got LDAP support, so users can see their personal address book or the domain address book. And the DND button, the Do Not Disturb button, it's synced to the PBX and vice versa, as well as phone direction or redirection that you set up. You don't even need to log into the phone, like I mentioned, but Vodia provisions all devices with the same admin and password or PIN for easy access to the Fanvil web GUI when troubleshooting needs to take place. Mostly everything can be done on the PBX and then synced, but things like button settings can be done on the phone as well if preferred. Vodia has pre-built templates for the buttons. This can be programmed per model before you even deploy the phones. Expansion keys can also be programmed and visible in the Vodia admin GUI. Button types that are supported include multi-line button support, BLF for various account types, park orbits, group pickup, service flags, logging agents in and out, and speed dial. And users can program those right from the phone as well. Here's just a slide here on how to contact us, support@vodia.com or sales@vodia.com, depending on what your inquiry is. doc.vodia.com gets you to our documentation, as well as downloading the software. That's what I got for you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Tommy Lee at Fanvil. So Tommy, whenever you're ready, go ahead and jump on in. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for your introduction, Eric. And again, I wanted to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Tommy Lee. I'm the VP of Sales for Fanvil. One of the things I wanted to point out was the fact that we do, that we do have a big differentiator in that when we partner up with Vodia, that we actually have the ability to share and actually provision buttons, which is a great differentiator amongst many of the solutions that are out there. As I share my screen today, one of the things I wanted to go over is the fact that many of our screens, our provisions, we are basically an endpoint provisioning company. So we develop endpoints that cater into the SIP desk phone market, as well as providing unique endpoints that fit the hospitality market as well. So when you're able to go ahead and do that, exercising many of the configuration capabilities of Vodia coupled with our endpoints gives you a really unique one-stop solution to everything. In addition to the phones, we also have indoor stations as well as door access units. All of these devices that you see are all SIP compatible so that they can be all configured with and work with the Vodia PBX, as Eric mentioned earlier as well. One of the unique things is that we also have the idea of having SIP public addresses, which actually enables you as the provider to be able to expand beyond just telecommunications capability and being able to add on other solutions that are in the outfit, meaning that you could put things like that are usually run under an analog system, but what you can do is actually convert that PA system to run on a SIP application. So you could just have this gateway that serves, that converts that AMP into a SIP gateway. So when you could assign it a Vodia extension, be able to call it, it'll do an auto answer and be able to go ahead and send your PA system through that system as well. It's a great handy tool, and it's one of our popular solutions that we have out there. And as Eric mentioned earlier as well, we also have a separate FDM CS, which is really our management system. A lot of what he provides is really a provisioning tool, but if you need something as a supplement, it's not a requirement to really monitor the performance of your endpoints, then what you can do is roll out the CS. Well, we have a CS, which actually stands for a cloud service solution. We don't charge for this service, so it's something that you can actually do, and it enables you as a provider to be able to download and work as an organization all the different endpoints that you have out in the field. Okay. Let me move on to the next slide here. Hold on just a second. How do I move on to the next slide here? Oh, okay, here we go. In this slide set, I just wanted to focus in on the XU series phones. This is what I call our core set of IP endpoints in terms of phones are concerned. Instead of having a separate SKU that provides minor differences, I like to focus in on the really core units that we have that's really the most popular throughout the Americas. Is that we start off with the X3U. This is what we call an XU series, which really gives you the basic function of all the things that require just pure audio communication without the need for BLFs, as you see in the upper phones here. Once you move up to the 4, 5, and 6, you end up working your way up to adding features and being able to see how these added features will help out in your deployment. One of the things that differentiates us as well is that we have a 2-year warranty, and that everything from 4, 5, and 6 enables you to put in a Wi-Fi dongle, which allows any of these phones to work in a Wi-Fi environment as well. So how do we differentiate? We differentiate by being able to look at the way we design our phones. Very often when our design, you have the BLF keys, which is off on the right-hand side. This typically mimics many of the Panasonic or the old NEC type systems where people upgrade, and so people are very used to it. And what's interesting is that when you want to manage SIP accounts and put calls on hold or things like that, you can actually use these keys left to the display, which allows you to go ahead and manage your calls as you come in without necessarily disturbing the upfront BLF keys that you see here. Now, not only do you see these keys that work here, you also have a button here that enables you to be able to flip over separate windows. So it gives you a lot of different type of functionality moving forward. Another key differentiator is that we also permit, for those providers that have a larger client base, you may also, instead of putting out Fanvil as a brand, you could put your own company name as a brand. So with our XU series, we also have a neutral version, which allows you to be able to develop a banner that allows, instead of having Fanvil, you could put your own logo and have your logo sent out to the company as well. And anything that was located Fanvil will be removed so that it really looks like your phone. I could talk into a lot more details, but the intent of this is just as an overview. For those who want a much larger screen, we have our edges, which complement the XU series I talked about before. And the X7 series has a touch screen as well as a button version. We know that touch screens are very, very subjective. You either love it or you hate it. So we actually developed a version that caters to both people. So depending on which one you like. And this has all the integrated features that you saw in the X6U and up, including, Bluetooth and everything else. Complementing that, we also have an Android phone, which is the X7A. And for those people who have a unique application that wants to run on Android, you can look at our X7A with an optional camera interface if you want to go ahead and do that. And that will enable you to not only anticipate and run all the features on the X7 and X7C, but also be able to run your unique applications as well. Now, one of the things about our specialized IP phones is that you'll notice none of our XU series phones have extension modules. This is a little bit different than what most people provide, and that what we actually did was integrate the extension modules as well as the phone onto one board, which creates the X210. And what that does is it really creates an integrated design so that you don't have to deal with having to work with a separate module, dealing with compatibility issues. And also from a manufacturing standpoint, it provides more value to your client as well, since it's all on one motherboard. And so you have two here with three separate windows, giving you all of the buttons and access that your clients are looking for outside. And as well, we also have on the opposite end, a small phone that really caters to a contact center, which this antenna is really intended for headphone application. Then, of course, we have the PA2, the PA3 type devices, which provide a SIP gateway into any of the particular, analog devices that you want to convert into a SIP application as well. As Vodia mentioned earlier, you could also provide remote applications. They just came out with 2 webinars that announced their iOS as well as their Android solutions. So given today's remote working capabilities, all of these options are available, including if you need to have desk phones, we can go ahead and provide that, or you can have direct applications as well coming from Vodia. In addition to that, we also have our management tool that I mentioned sooner. This is just a larger snapshot of the dashboard that's available out there, which gives you quick monitoring of all of your organizations or a specific group that you may want to set up. So how you want to do this, the configuration is really up to you. Again, in the hospitality market, I want to focus in a little bit more. I talked a little bit about our phones that cater to the H series. We have an H series phones that fit right into it. They can comprise of not only just your standard classic phones, which is what we have that have the plastic templates, but we actually offer a hospitality phone that gives you a soft display, and that enables the provider into hospitality to be able to put in the hotel logos as well as any specific keys as a soft config file. So you could just have one phone and you could spend zero time in terms of having to develop these templates, which is classic in most hospitality deployments. Then we also have the remote entrances as well, which also gives you the ability to have a remote access to the back entrance of the hotels. And of course, if it's a large hotel, you have things like parking gates. Most parking gates have an access for one button access to the receptionist. So when you get stuck behind the gate, you can go ahead and communicate. You can actually retrofit this interface into a SIP interface as well using our PA2 gateway. Again, this is more of a larger screenshot of some of the soft screens that we have, but in addition to the H3 and the H5W, the W means that Wi-Fi is also integrated into the phone as well. So another cost savings, instead of doing a rewire, you could have access to the actual hospitality Wi-Fi systems moving forward. And these are also covered under a 2-year warranty as well. So all of these things can be, put together and combined in, and you can go ahead and manage this with either the Vodia provisioning solution, or you can use our solution as well. The only difference in the Smart Campus solution is that campuses typically use a lot more of our intercoms and as well as the video access for security reasons. People could put outdoors and actually have different levels of access to have a simple one-call button which can contact security office within campuses. And that's really what it boils down to. We have units that actually run in several different environments, indoor commercial as well as outdoor ruggedness. Again, this is just a small snapshot of all the different types of intercoms that we have. We have some with video, without video, and as well as some indoor units that just have a simple one-button access. Here is my contact information. You can go ahead and just really contact us in sales, send any information you want to do there, or you can have technical support. Another unique differentiator is that we actually have an SE for America. So if you have technical support, we actually have a live person here that can able to address your questions as well. So beyond that, we also have a test drive demo kit program, which gives you the capability of being able to sort of test drive our phones. We have a bundle program giving you a low end as well as a high end at a very one-time, not for resale type of pricing, so that you can test drive it at minimal risk.
Hey, thank you, Tommy. Hope this was informative for everyone. Certainly was for me as well. But we'll be talking to you soon. And again, thanks everybody for joining today.
Thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate your time, and thank you everybody else for your time as well.